Hello, and you are listening to Coaster-852.
A Hong Kong podcast about all things coasters and theme parks.
Hello again.
This week is a bit different, wouldn't you say? We finally can get our haircuts.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Even just with my towel, the hair dries basically it instantly. But with my previous long hair, I'll have to use the hair dryer to blow it, and that takes ages.
Oh yeah, for God's sake. I don't know. I don't know what sort of prime minister doesn't seem like he needs a haircut, does he?
Yeah, I quite envy these kinds of people with long hair, but they're like naturally good.
Oh yeah, for sure. I guess that's the benefit of having curly hair. You just don't have to tidy up your hair, and you could just let it go crazy, anyways.
And also, you save quite a bit of money, you know?
Who cares, man? But only if everything goes as well as only if everything is like as well as his hair, as free as his hair, then it'll be so much nicer.
Yeah. All right, let's get back to today's topic. And today we're going to look at the park spotlight,
Yeah, it's Tokyo DisneySea this week.
and we are going to discuss about the fall of record-breaking coasters. Is it coincidence or destiny?
Yeah, so look forward to that. And without further ado, let's move on to our park spotlight. So let's get into this week's park spotlight. As I think many of you guys would know, that this is one of the most well-known or well-considered theme parks in the world, as one of the best ones in the world. And I would definitely argue so because of how Disney this park is. And Tokyo DisneySea is the park spotlight of the week. So, in terms of transport wise, it's really well connected because of how close it is located to one of the main JR lines. So, either the Keio line or the Musashino line. And you could get off at Mahima State. Mahima Station? I don't know. I probably butchered that name.
And again, you guys know me. Don't forget about the buses. All right?
So obsessed with buses, man.
Shuttle buses. Yay!
Oh, of course, you could get the shuttle bus cred if you ever count shuttle buses as cred. I don't know why you would do that, but once you arrive at the resort station, so the Mahima station, you could walk shortly to the resort gateway station, which is basically a free monorail service connecting the station to either DisneySea or Disneyland. So that's really convenient, and so you don't have to walk all the way if you just want to save up some energy for your day later on. Similar to any Disney resorts, obviously the shuttle bus service is top notch, and you should make use of that because it's free. Did you use the transport when you were in Disneyland, California, or use the shuttle bus service when you are going to Californian Adventure?
Yeah, and for me, get a hang of the American style coach. It's quite nice.
It's so convenient, right? Oh yeah, it's interesting because they do shuttle bus, but some other traditional parks do trolleys. So it's like one of those.
Small opened up. So they're basically vans, but they are heavily modified and they are cabin, but instead you're just sitting on the chassis with a seat and a roof. That's it.
Yeah, it's basically like one of those studio tram tours. If you go to like Hollywood studios and sorry, I mean Universal Studios Hollywood tram tours, that sort of thing. That's a similar sort of transport vehicle, if you like.
Yeah, they basically transform something like a Volkswagen van or like any Ford Transporter vans. They just transform that into well, that's a good one. Ford Transporter and transform that into a kind of vehicle for theme parks.
For sure, for sure. When we talk about transport rides, how could we forget about some of the major transport rides that serve the park? So, the electric railway is a really good system within the American harborfront area. Yeah, it looks it just has like that classic trolley theme, if you like. So that is really cool, and that really gives you time to immerse yourself into looking onto Mystery Island, which is the park's volcano, the centerpiece or the weenie of the park, if you like.
Yeah, that basically looks like a real volcano to me.
Yeah, it's heard of stories about how people walk past this entrance and then straight away walk past that gateway and instantly cried because of how unrealistic this is. It's considered one of the best theme parks in the world for a reason. And other than that sort of ride, of course, you have the Venetian gondolas, which, if you guys are familiar with the Las Vegas gondolas run in like Venetian hotels in Las Vegas or in Macau, then they have those in the Mediterranean harbor area, which is really cool. And obviously, you have the transit steamer line, which sort of transport you between areas to different areas, and for it's not quite just a scenic ride, but more transport ride. So it gives you a good time to appreciate around different areas, but at the same time you could just enjoy the view. So I just really would recommend that as a way of transport. That could save you time as well from walking place to place.
Yeah, so that sort of system, back to the tram or train topic. You know, in Sentosa in Singapore, they've got similar system. Just within the area, there is basically the free shuttle, which will brings you from one area to another area.
Oh yeah, for sure. I think they do have another monorail as well, which is really cool. I think in terms of that. But let's get into the areas, shall we? So the major areas, I would say the highlights are definitely for me personally. I would say the Mediterranean harbor is a nice gateway into the park itself, and obviously you have your classic dining options and have like plenty of food. So and for me, the highlight would be the American harbor front area, which features like this large cruise ship thing. And also it features Tower of Terror, one of the highlight rides of the park, I would say.
Aha. I've been to Tower of Terror in LA, obviously.
You mean California Adventure, right? It's the California Adventure Park.
Uh,
Actually, I think it's the one with Radiator Springs.
yes. Yeah, that's what I've been. I think I might have talked about that briefly in the previous episodes, but well, but this time I can talk about it in detail. I know that's already transformed into a different theme.
Oh, for the Paradise Pier area. That's it. Now it's rethemed to Pixar Pier, which is, I mean, many consider that better, but for me, I'm still
Hexapure.
nostalgic about the old California Adventure, despite
No good.
how much trouble the park has. But anyways, how was your experience on Tower of Terror? How would you, although version in Tokyo DisneySea has quite a different theme, because obviously in Japan they don't recognize the Twilight Zone franchise as much as other places.
It's a bit different.
That's
I
why they
know.
have individual theme for that, and that's quite a bit different from other Twilight Zone towers. But I guess you could talk about a bit about the sensation you felt on Tower of Terror. How would you describe it? What would you say for someone that hasn't experienced a Tower of Terror type attraction?
I would say ultimately it is basically a
Drop tower.
yeah, but I would say it's really good in terms of theming because I remember that when I was queuing outside, well, it's bloody hot in LA. When I finally got into this sheltered area, everything looks very nostalgic and broken, I would say, because well, the theme was basically an abandoned hotel, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. I'm not sure about the whole sort of Tower of Terror Twilight Zone thing, But from what I know, I think it's some sort of elevator ride gone wrong. Basically, that's the best way to describe it. But
Yeah, so back to the general topic. What I mean by broken is when the elevator is broken and finally abandoned and stuff. Everything looks broken, and all those uh, flamboyant decorations unfaded. Yeah, faded, and those photos looked yellowy color. Well, you know what I'm talking about.
yeah, for sure. But in terms of the sensation on the ride, do you remember much of like the drop tower? Would you kind of explain about what to expect if people are not prepared for it, or because people might not necessarily know that it's a drop tower? Did you know it was a drop tower when you went in?
Well, I was expecting something like a seated 4D cinema when with the chairs moving around and rock and roll. I was expecting that because it looks like it should be a 4D cinema thingy.
Simulator ride.
Yeah, yeah, but actually it's a drop tower. Well, I would say as a GP, I'll rate it as 1 to 10, 10 strongest. I would say that is number 6 intense.
That's interesting. That's interesting because I think many people enthusiasts argue about whether this is a drop tower or not, but I think
In terms of
I think it's
mechanism,
definitely one of the best ones. It seems like one of the best themed drop towers if you count that as a drop tower.
yeah, and actually, I haven't been on a drop tower for quite a while at that time. So I was, due to the fact that I was not expecting that it's a drop tower, so I was nervous when I realized that it was moving up and down. And well, the G force was great, but sort of mid-age older passengers. Oh, sorry, I mean, I was too used to buses, so I say passengers. I mean riders. Yeah, and some of them like, oh my god.
They get freaked out, don't they? I could imagine, like, because I don't think make it clear and point, like, when one of the first attractions, like those Tower of Terror's attractions open, I don't think the general public actually know that it's necessarily a drop tower and to they actually get close to it. It's just so well hidden, and I just think that definitely it would carry across this dark ride drop tower hybrid in the American Harbourfront area. But moving on to another ride that I think you could compare to is Journey to the Center of the Earth in the Mysterious
Mhm.
Island. So that's the volcano bit that you could see with those steampunk theming, and also it's just I think it uses the same sort of system as Radiator Springs.
Well, again, I had been to that Radiator Spring, so I can talk a bit about that. Well, this one, Journey to the Center of the Earth, that is a dark ride. And for Radiator Spring, it's not really a dark ride. It's for quite a bit of it. It's outdoor, so that's exposed. I would say for Radiator Spring, that's nothing to be frightened about because it's all harmonic. You basically sit on that ride or car, yeah,
car
and
car theme car.
yeah, and you feel like you're basically driven by someone, but perhaps the person is driving a bit too fast. But yeah, that's all good. And then up to a point when two cars will meet together, and they'll say, "You want to race?
Race.
Drag race, 0 to 400 meters? Oh yeah, bring it on!" Yeah, again, some American accents here. And then the two cars will shoot out, yeah, or with a better term, launched. Yeah, the two cars will be launched and competing with each other. Well, everything is just controlled. Like one will be after another one, and then all of a sudden the other one will pass the other one. You know what I mean? Everything is just programmed. And
Yeah.
I would say there's a bit of airtime. It was, yeah, when they, well, not really an inversion.
Oh yeah,
They basically
yeah,
go
for
up
sure.
and down and up and down.
The airtime bills.
Yeah, with a bit of that, and then some. And I remember that there was two, maybe three corners of quite a good banking, I would say.
Weak, I would say. I would guess it would be
Yeah,
on the
yeah, yeah,
weaker side. But
yeah.
with the launch, I guess you could compare that to Radiator Springs Racers, which is
Hmm.
actually surprisingly came after this. So this journey, to my knowledge, journey to the center of the Earth actually came before Radiator Springs was a thing. So at this that time, it was quite impressive, I would say. But instead, I don't want to spoil it, the ride. But basically, there's one big launch, one big finale in this ride that goes uphill. But I'm not gonna spoil many more because you wouldn't want to know more about the ride, or else it just ruins the dark ride for you. If you're interested, you should definitely check out one of those POV videos, which I could show HM later. But that's definitely the mysterious island for you. And in terms of other well themed areas, I think the Arabian coast area is the park's Arabian area, and but I think it's also quite well themed as well, even though it's not clearly not like one of the spotlight areas, but no way it does feels like a theater area. And moving on to Port Discovery, that's the place where you could find Nemo and those weird bumper cars things that instead of imagine visualize sort of bumper car, but instead it's they are like bumper boats, and then they sort of spin in like a it's kind of cute, but you don't bump into each other. So they have one of those rides there. It's really cute. And
Ah,
yeah, so and for you Nemo lovers there's a I think that there's a Nemo ride there, so Nemo dock ride there, so that would be pretty fun too. But outside of the main dock ride, so sort of water bumper car thing is called Aquatopia, if I'm being technical. But also they have like other backup rides like Soaring Fantastic Fight or 20,000 Leans Under the Sea. So that's pretty good. But even for kids, there's something to do or credit horse out there. You could go to the Mermaid Lagoon area to get the Flanders Flying Fish coaster credit. It's actually one of the rare Togo family coasters that you could enjoy. I've never seen a Togo family coaster. Don't ask me that, but it definitely looks kind of quirky once you say.
yeah, that looks quite gentle, and kids can enjoy that. And for adults or coaster fans, you guys can get a credit on this one.
And yeah, I don't know. It depends because I know some for when I was visiting last year to Universal Studios Japan, they didn't let me get the kitty cred. They didn't allow me to get the kitty
Oh,
cred, which is really sad. So -1 there. No, minus the potential +1 there. So that's really sad. For you guys that might be looking at, I wouldn't say it's great rise, but it's probably one of the best themed. So Raging Spirits, so it's one of the most well themed rides, although it's quite a classic like crappy ride with crappy restraints, with crappy over the shoulder restraints, which could induce some head banging. But I think it looks really decently themed, even though the large section of the ride is like a wild mouse with some loops, with a loop, with the temple theming, wouldn't you say? In the Lost River Delta area, should I add?
yeah, that's a hybrid, isn't it?
It's not a hybrid, but it definitely looks like it. It looks like for non-suspecting guests that definitely looks like a wooden structure mixed with some iron, but it's actually entirely iron. I mean entirely
Ah,
steel.
right.
Sorry, to be
Because to me, when talking about brown stuff, we think about wood, right? And uh, with with everything brown, everything looks so hardcore, and including those uh, cards, they're the box type ones. So basically, they are troublesome trucks.
Not very comfortable,
So they're basically troublesome trucks in railways, in real life railways.
and not
Not
very comfortable.
comfortable, bumpy, no suspension.
Yeah, it's not. We all knew how the only roller coaster with loops, the wooden roller coaster with loops, how that turned out. It was a
Wow.
disaster. It's called Son of Beast. So basically, what happened was, long story short, it's like one of those wooden roller coasters that tried to do a loop as one of the most modern roller coasters, but basically they miscalculated the force and things like that, and the whole structure just rocks like crazy. So apparently it feels like a car crash and like when you're actually riding it. So not good experience. Not good experience. But luckily it's no longer here, I guess.
Agreed.
But yeah, and obviously with when the night ends, I think you have to stay for the like the night firework display, which is really cool because it shoots like fireworks outside of the volcano in Mysterious Island, which I think is a missable event for sure. Yeah. So to round up this thing, I guess we definitely need to talk about accommodations because who stays in Disney for a day? No one, absolutely no one. And I mean, if you could afford it, I would highly recommend Tokyo Disney Sea Hotel Miracos. Oh my god, that's the longest name ever. Tokyo Disney Sea Hotel Mira Costa. So it is one of the priciest hotel in the world. I like it's not like in the world, but I say it's quite pricey. But it has a view straight into the park, so you could see over into the volcano. Even the park is closed, which I think is pretty cool.
And all you pay for is Disney branded stuff, Mickey Mouse shaped hash brown.
And don't forget the Mickey shaped soap in the toilet. They actually have a Mickey shaped dispenser with Mickey soaps, which is
Ah, I guess not roller coaster fans, Disney fans would definitely go there and just take the soap away.
no, I unfortunately you can't because the bubble would kind of disappear. It's like literally a foam Disney like Mickey Mouse. So it's like one of those Mickey Mouse foam things that is squeezed onto your hand, and it's really cool. So
And it's so Japanese.
just yeah, honestly, it's one of the most Japanese things because of how much detail they pay into without ruining the whole experience, and that's what most people come to Disney for. But I mean, I don't know why you don't want to stay on site when you have early entry to the park, and that is beneficial for you to get fast passes, so bypass the line sometimes, and character meal opportunities in certain hotels.
And don't forget about the credits. Get it done in a day.
Oh yeah, for sure. You would like to get a fast pass early for those attractions, which I think obviously if you don't live on site, you're at a disadvantage naturally. But if you don't want to stay in on-site accommodation, that's fine too. They have associated partnership hotels for cheaper rates with shuttle bus service to the park itself. So that is a more economic or local option if you like. But would you recommend people living in downtown Tokyo? For me, if you are visiting Disney, I think you definitely need at least 2 days staying in a hotel in around the Disneyland in one of the Disneyland hotels or in the Disney Sea hotels.
Yeah, but otherwise, I would say spend a night or two in a Disney themed hotel is okay if you are there for the first time. But for the other nights, just live somewhere outside, not in the center of Tokyo because of the price. And taking in account of the fact that JR trains are quite convenient. So you can live further for a cheaper price. And even with the transportation, uh, actually, it will still be cheaper than staying in the city center and taking no transportation. And well, again, transportation is another crack, isn't it?
Transportation isn't the correct, man.
Nah, for me.
No, transportation. I mean, yeah, you could take some bus fans or train fans. That's. I guess there's a different system and different creds. So definitely a different system there, which I'm not very familiar about. Maybe you could teach me some another day.
Yeah, but what I mean by that is not just about the credit, but is to experience how a normal Japanese person will,
Commute
yeah, commute, and you get to know their daily routines, uses, and cultures and
culture.
stuff. Well, talking about trains, I would like to advise any of you guys here, if you are in Japan, never talk loudly on trains, as it's their culture to be absolutely quiet on trains.
Yeah, for sure. Can't talk on the phone if you're in Japan. That's quite impolite. So make sure you don't talk loudly when you're on trains to respect their culture. But I would say this week is a pretty good park spotlight, and next week I think we will be talking about Disneyland, the other park, Tokyo Disneyland, the other park next to it, which would feature some of your classic attractions like Splash Mountain, of course.
Yeah, yeah.
And so we're moving on to the next section of our show. So let's move on to our main discussion about record-breaking coasters. About the fall of record-breaking coasters. Is it a coincidence or is it a destiny? As technology progresses. All right, guys. This is the end of part 1. So be sure to check out part 2, which will be coming soon.